This video is brought to you by the lovely sponsors below. Thank you so much for your support.
I really need to tell them. I feel like the longer this goes, the more it's just gonna blow up in my face if I don't put it out there. But where the hell would I even start? Mordred knows, but no one else has ever brought it up to me directly. Well, except for Musaki that one time, but I was pressed for time. He hasn't brought it back up to me since. And what about the rest? Do they not care? Am I overthinking this? Or are they waiting for me to back myself into a corner?
You're being too loud.
Ah! Hi! Senpai! I, didn't see you there.
Obviously.
This probably sounds pretty suspicious. Which it isn't. Not suspicious at all.
Okay.
I was just thinking out loud. About a character. From a book. It's a story.
I really don't care.
Right, I suppose you wouldn't. Although, maybe you would. You like stories, right, senpai? That's why you're always reading? Maybe I have a story you haven't heard yet. And I'd like your opinion on it.
Fine. Where's the book?
It's gone. With everything else. So there's no other way to hear the story unless I tell it.
Go ahead. I'm not stopping you, if the story means so much to you.
I don't know if you'll like it. I certainly don't. But there's this character, and he changed against his own will. And now...
That sounds like a completely normal setup for stories like this. Doesn't everyone change over time, whether they want to or not?
Let me start over. In the story, this character lived a pretty similar life to what we have here in Chaldea. He found his place there after having endured a harsh upbringing. It was also there where he found a purpose. With the help of his companions, he saved the world, and went on to solve other mysteries like in Salem, where he met someone like him. But then, they were attacked. Like our Chaldea here. And in the chaos, he volunteered to stay behind and give the rest of the survivors time to escape. And so, he was left behind along with some of his friends. He did what he could to keep everyone else alive with what little resources we had. But it wasn't enough. They were trapped. His mana was reaching its limit. He knew that they were going to die soon. Not even Shiki, his servant at the time, could do much for us. Them. But then, they had an unexpected visitor. He had no idea what was happening to the world outside, so he took it as a sign of hope. Little did I know that I was leading them to their death.
When you live long enough in the dark, any light looks like the sun.
He cut down his best friend Leo first. There wasn't enough time to react, he just died instantaneously. At that moment, all of the hope we had was shattered when we watched him lick the blood off his fingers. He grabbed Carol by the neck and tightened his grip as he let loose a swarm of demons on Eli, which tore at his flesh. I was so drained. I could barely do anything to stop it. I could only beg. I begged for them to be spared. I even offered up my life in exchange. But all he did was laugh. He laughed at our pain as he choked the last bit of life out of my friends.
What did you do?
I was alone. I was so drained of mana I couldn't even summon Shiki. So I charged at the bastard. I didn't care if I died. I wanted to go out fighting for their sake.
Such commendable spirit.
But even he wouldn't grant me that. He saw it as an opportunity to make me his pet.
That's a shame. Sounds like you were close to joining them.
What the hell are you?
Isn't that what he wanted? To die with the people he cared about? I guess he wasn't that lucky. Tragedy or not, Sounds like his ending got stolen.
Yeah, of course, he wanted revenge and peace. For everything to be over. But he didn't get it. Limbo wouldn't let him. His curse of annihilation made sure of that. It's like being waterboarded. In boiling water from the inside. Every inch of your being, inside and out, is getting seared to the core. And slowly replaced by something else. He would have had his prized toy. But then... Abby. She came in the nick of time and drove him off before he could finish him off. But the damage was done. His mind was slowly, painfully being reconditioned. At Shiki's suggestion, Abigail was forced to send him across time. To a place where I could be safe. Until she could find me again. By a stroke of chance, it led to Atlas.
Atlas.
Yeah. I felt the same. It wasn't a good first impression. When he landed, his mind was already so deranged that he found himself on a rampage across the facility. He could only watch in horror as he killed a number of Nell's staff indiscriminately. Luckily, however, she managed to have me detained before he
Detain him. Whatever
could cause any more damage.
I want him alive.
That's when she had him for a time as her little lab rat.
Now, let's
She
see
did
what
everything
makes
to understand his ailment. In the end, all she could do was suppress the murderous impulses into something sillier. It's still quite unhinged.
From tragic hero to comic relief? Sounds like whiplash.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. He lost his mind, but with Nell, he was able to function. Mostly. That led him to this Chaldea. In the story, that is. But even if he could act on his own again, it wasn't who he was. He was still trapped inside of himself. His true self always looking outward. Unable to make his own choices or speak out. Always looking for a way out. And for years, he grew resentful as no one could hear his cries. He hated that. As much as he hated Limbo.
He didn't have any control. When you're a slave to your own impulses, you can hurt even the people you care about.
Abigail came back for him, though.
Are you awake now?
She led him to Salem again, where she allowed him to separate himself and reclaim what was his from Sippy, and destroyed what was left. He got himself back, but now he's surrounded by people who knew him only when he wasn't, well, him.
Does he still hate him?
What do you mean?
You said he hated the person he became. But then he got out of it. Does he still hate the person he was stuck as?
Of course I don't know. He should, right? You can't just get over something like that.
If it were me, I'd never forgive myself.
Of course, it was a stupid...
You aren't. Me, that is.
I know that. It's just hard to know where I stand
With Chaldea?
with myself.
Maybe you should tell your story to someone who'd care.
Gee, thanks. I don't know why I bothered.
It wasn't a bad one. But I don't think I'm its target audience. Think about it.
Hey, Sci Guy! What a surprise! I didn't know you were in here.
Oh, god damn it.
Yeah, so that wasn't going to work.
Can I not just get a little privacy?
Sorry about that. Around the time I found out what happened to Misaki, while I was trekking through mountains of video footage looking for that bit that Nell hid from me, I saw your fight with Mordred. Hearing all of this, it definitely fills in some of the gaps.
You knew.
For a while, yeah. I just never got a chance to sit you down for it. but I did want to hear it from you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, okay, eavesdropping is not my finest moment, but I'm honestly a little sick of all the secrets around here. And you said yourself, if it's past time to clear the air. Which now leads us to here. So then, Sippy is gone.
It had to be done. When he followed you into Shimosa, he was attacked by Limbo. Thanks to Shiki, I was able to fend him off before anything could be done. But I couldn't risk the possibility of his presence further corrupting me. He was his creation after all. That's why
And if you didn't?
you would have been harboring a time bomb. The incident in Atlas all over again. No more Chaldea.
Even when I was the director, everyone made decisions for me. That should have been my choice to make, but I never knew.
You never knew because he couldn't tell you. Or wouldn't. Not that Limbo's magic would ever make it possible. Look. I can tell he meant something to you. All of you. He was a handful, yes. But you still accepted him for some reason. That's the way you people are, I guess. But I can speak for Sippy when he couldn't. If that curse wasn't dealt with soon...
We could have done something. Find another way.
No, you couldn't. He wouldn't let you. And don't think I didn't consider the alternatives. Sippy was in existence conditioned to keep the truth at bay. He wasn't even aware of it. And that itself is dangerous. Not even the professor could do much, and she's one of our brightest. Despite what you may think of her.
So I'm supposed to accept this then? That Sippy's gone and you're what's left?
It doesn't matter. It's over. And I couldn't reverse it even if I wanted to. Which I don't. I'm finally myself again. Free from that prison. He may have meant something to you, but in the end, he wasn't even a real person to begin with. Kinda like a lost belt, you could say.
Even if he was still part of our lives. In those Lost Belt, those people lived, and we remember them even now. Yeah, he was annoying, but that's no excuse to pretend that he didn't exist.
Oh, I agree. I couldn't dismiss that even if I wanted to. The main issue, however, is that you would have been letting him tag along until one day, without ever knowing how or why, he'd kill all of you, courtesy of Limbo. I fixed the problem. If you knew, you would have thanked me. You're all heart, Musaki. And that's your undoing.
I'm tired of everyone making decisions like they know me better than I know myself.
I know you're the one who couldn't keep himself together when Okito was missing. The one who set the professor to take on a lost belt of all things, to show her humility. What will you do to me now that you know, huh? Lock me up? Abandon me on the next lost belt? Kill me? You see I'm trying to pretend like he didn't exist, but what does that make me? What does that make my life before he was forced upon my identity? Before I got stranded on your world? Was everything I've done in my life meaningless? The people who I grew to love before they died, did they even matter? Did they matter to Sippy in his most private, personal moments? Did they matter one bit to him? No. He never shed a tear. He never opened up to any of you. And he never cared to think that somewhere deep down inside of him was someone who just wanted to be heard. But whatever happened to me in my world isn't worth a damn to any of you, is it?
That's not what I...
Save it. No one can blame you for choosing your world over another. The same way you choose Sippy over who he really is. It's nothing new. For the longest time, and even now, I never belonged anywhere.
That's where you're wrong, man. I'm in a position closer to you, actually.
We're nothing alike.
Oh, I agree with that, but that's not what I mean. This isn't my world either. I came from another time, to try and save this world.
What?
At this point, I thought everyone knew, but I don't think I ever told Sippy directly. I left my time to try and save Dr. Roman and Mashu from dying here. As you can see, that didn't happen. Like you, it was a one-way trip. So I'm here to stay and make the best of it.
3 time travelers and 1 screwed up timeline. What a joke.
I really want to believe there was another way. But regardless, you did what you thought was right. Now, though, another one of my friends is dead. And that's more than enough on my conscience already.
So what happens now? Where do we go from here?
Well, I'm not gonna lock you up or kill you if that's what you're asking. Since the Salem incident, you've been helping us a lot. But now I need to know if I can trust you fully. I have to start over and see if you're willing to lay your life down on the line for us. For this humanity. Even if it isn't yours.
I never had the freedom of choice that you had, Musaki. But I will not let the fate of my world or that of my friends become yours. I'll die before that happens again.
Good to know we're both fighting to get this world on track. I honestly am hesitant to trust you, but I have no choice right now. It's not the end for panhuman history. Despite everything, I like to think we can make our own fate.
If you truly believe that, Musaki, then you would understand.
You were right. I didn't like it.
Told you so.
I'd have a word or two with the author if I could about the overuse of trauma in setting up a backstory.
Alright, I get it. Sorry to waste your precious time.
If you're that sorry, you could buy me some yakisoba. That should keep your mind off it.
Whatever you say, senpai.
One other thing. How does it end? This story of yours.
Who knows? I haven't gotten that far yet. But I do have a pretty good idea.